Hello, this is my response to the class discussion to the data in the classroom data collection. So as a special education teacher, data collection is basically my middle name. We use data collection in everything. We use it when developing our IEPs, which is an individualized education plan. We use it when determining what their eligibility will be, or what services they should receive in the classroom, what curriculum should we be using in their intervention, that sort of thing. And Roblyer and Hughes describes this type of data as examining student achievement data. And if teachers engage in action research, they say they often collect and analyze data on student learning. And that's Roblyer and Hughes, 2019. So basically, using this data helps me determine what they should be learning, how they should be learning it. Is there a deficit in how they're learning it? And allows me to be able to create a curriculum or some accommodations to help them achieve that. So there's a lot of different data collection assessments that we use. The most popular ones that I use are called iReady assessments. They're benchmarks, essentially. We use math and reading. The math and reading ones are done 3 times a year. So there's fall, winter, and spring. And these are, all students take this test, not just special ed students. And this test is on grade level. There are no accommodations, nothing is read aloud to them. And it's simply just a way for us to know where they're at. Now, all teachers in the school use this to decide if they need to go to a reading intervention class, because Tennessee uses what's called an RTI squared model. I believe it might be RTI 3 model. They might have changed it, but basically there's the level 1 tier, which is all students, level 2 tier, which is some students that need some help in the classroom, at level 3 tier, which is a pull out for 45 minutes with some specialized instruction. And if they're not receiving enough growth or having enough growth in a tier 3, then they're moved on and referred to special ed, which is technically like a tier 4. And that's where I come into play. So this data helps us see that if students are below, let's say, the 10th percentile, then they're put into a tier 3 to see if they just need a little extra help for a while. And if they do progress in their next benchmark and do well, then they can go back to tier 2 and so on. But if they still go down, like most of my students are in the 1st percentile, 2nd percentile, then we definitely look at an IEP or see if there's a deficit area that we're not looking at. Checklists are another things that I use in the classroom. So these are just simple paper checklists that I send to the teachers. I'm sure if I wanted to get more technical, I could put it on Google Documents, which I have done before. And basically they're just, how is a student doing in the classroom? If I'm serving them for social emotional deficits, how are those social emotional deficits doing in the classroom? Are they behaving themselves, keeping their hands to themselves? Sometimes I even fill out these checklists. It's just a quick way to sort of see where a student is at. And then another popular one that I use on a weekly basis, well, every other week, is called AIMS-Web Progress Monitoring. AIMS-Web is a reading program that tests students on 1-minute reads. So for 1 minute, they have to read as many words as they can, and it is progressed on their educational level. So if a student is in 5th grade, but they have a specific reading disability in, let's say, reading fluency, then maybe they might be on 2nd grade or a 3rd grade level. So this program tests them for 1 minute on a 3rd grade level reading passage, and it sees how many words they can read in a minute. They have an overarching goal for the whole academic year. It could be like 100 words, it could be 90 words, but we're just kind of working our way up. In fact, that's kind of how the students have learned how to collect data. I don't have enough time in my interventions. I'm mostly just teaching reading to teach them data collection. But the one thing I do focus on is having them be in charge of their goal. So if you look at 100 words and you think, wow, I'm only reading 20, how the heck am I going to get to 100 words? The best thing to do is take it piece by piece. So we tell the students to sit down, tell us how many words they want to read. Okay, last week you read 20, let's try for 25. And they decide what they want for their goal for that day to be. They write it down in a little notebook that they have. It's kind of a chart, and they fill out how many words they want to read. And then when they finish the read, we see how many words they got. If they meet the goal that they wanted to read or they exceed, then they get a treat. They get some Wolverine bucks, school money that we call, or they get to, I don't know, just pick out of the treasure box, just some kind of motivation to sort of help them. And this just allows them to kind of take control and learn how data works and to see the progress. So even if they have a day where they haven't read as much, you can say, but look, last week you read like 30 words, like you're still doing okay. It's just kind of a bad day, which kind of helps them. So, and even I love Edutopia. It's one of my favorite places to find articles. And Mulliken, in his article, 3 Tips to Use Data Effectively, suggests that teachers meet weekly to review and modify and adjust our strategies based on the data. So it's Mulliken 2020. So I am not just the only one that's looking at their reading goal. I'm talking to their teachers. We're looking at benchmarks. We're talking about the checklist. So it's so important that on a weekly basis, I'm talking with the teacher because I'm not always in the general ed classroom. I only see a student maybe 2 hours a day, depending on how things are going. So it's important for me to be in contact with the teachers so I know that they're progressing towards their goals and doing what I need to do, doing what they need to do. Do I need to change something? That sort of thing. So like I said, data is extremely important in my job. And I hope to someday sort of be able to teach my students how to use it more effectively. But have a great night.